Well, there's new fallout in the Benghazi scandal. You've been following this, no doubt, and new leaked emails reportedly show references to al-Qaeda were actually removed from talking points on the attack. The same talking points used by UN Ambassador Susan Rice on talk shows the Sunday after the deadly ambush, and now the White House is on defense.
Ambassador Rice, in those shows, talked about the possibility that al-Qaeda might be involved, or other al-Qaeda affiliates might be involved, or non-al-Qaeda Libyan extremists, which I think demonstrates that there was no effort to play that down. It was simply a reflection of, we did not, and the intelligence community did not, and others within the administration did not jump to conclusions about who was responsible before we had an investigation to find out the facts.
All right, to find out the facts, and certainly that's what Republican Congressman Blake Farenthold is, a member of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. He is trying to find out the facts as well as the other members of that committee. Sir, good to have you this afternoon. Let's get right to it. 12 versions of the talking points that ultimately paved the way for Susan Rice, UN Ambassador Susan Rice, to claim that this terrorist attack was on the Benghazi consulate. And it was all based on a spontaneous demonstration in protest of an anti-Islam film. That is what she claimed. All of her statement turned out to be false because those were statements that were scrubbed. And now we know the State Department, at least one member of the National Security Council, and the White House were involved in those changes. So what do you as a member of Congress now do to get to the bottom of this mess and find the truth?
Well, I think we continue to investigate and continue to hold hearings. It was whistleblowers that brought this to light. We may have some more whistleblowers. We have an email trail. But look, the whole thing doesn't make sense. From day one on the ground, we're saying it was an attack. And then we get a report back on the Sunday shows from Susan Rice saying, oh, no, it was spontaneous. And there's only one logical explanation. It was political. We were 2 months before the election. The narrative was, look, we've got al-Qaeda on the run. We've got bin Laden. The drone attacks are working. Had this actually come out as a terrorist attack, it would have destroyed those talking points and been bad for the White House.
Congressman, as you said, it's political, and the Obama administration has accused Republicans of making Benghazi political, and Republicans, as you just said, accuse the administration of avoiding calling Benghazi a terror attack simply because of the electoral politics going on at that particular time. And as you know, and as we've seen, Jay Carney being grilled by reporters in search of the facts, he went on to talk about what was going on. You personally, though, as a member of Congress, hearing what Jay Carney had to say, what's your personal reaction in terms of his statements?
Well, I just shake my head and say, why couldn't you have told the truth in the first place and we wouldn't have been in this? If you learn anything from watching the history of scandals developing in Washington, it's the cover-up that gets you. Tell the American people the truth the first time around.
So are you accusing the White House of covering it up?
Well, look, they certainly changed the talking points from what came from the CIA. Originally, they threw the intelligence community under the bus, saying this is what they have. But then these emails come out that say, no, it's the State Department and the administration that's taking words like al-Qaeda and terrorist attack out and replacing it with demonstration.
And clearly you're seeing that from the reporting here at Fox News and other networks now about Victoria Nuland of the State Department actually taking some of those statements about al-Qaeda out of it because she didn't want members of Congress to attack the State Department. In the midst of all this, sir, we have not heard from the Obama administration's National Security Chief, Tom Donilon. Do you expect him to come to explain what he knows about this attack?
Well, again, I think we're going to have some more hearings in the Government Oversight and Reform Committee. We now know what happened. We now need to find out what or why it happened and who made the bad decisions.
But do you need to hear from him? And what do you expect that he might say?
Listen, if I were writing the witness list, he would be on there. Again,
and why would he be on the witness list, sir?
Because I want to ask the questions, who was involved, and why was this done? And he's possibly somebody that would have information. We're going to do our homework, and then we're going to get the right witnesses to ask those questions.
Well, Congressman, as you know, this could go on, and the bottom line is, and we have to keep this in mind, that amid all of these questions that are being asked about what happened, 4 very brave Americans are dead in service to their country. So what steps should now be taken to be sure that better security measures are implemented for embassies operating in hostile environments throughout the world?
Well, we need to make sure that our emergency response teams are in place. We had testimony in Benghazi that they weren't even scrambled. Why not at least put them on a plane and get them moving in the direction? And, you know, as an American, it concerns me that we can't get a fighter jet over any place in the world in 7 hours. You know, there's been a battle going on in Libya that we've been doing air support for, and the Libyan people knew to be a little nervous when they heard a fighter jet go. Even if we just buzzed the facility, we might have been able to run off some of the attackers and save some lives. Why can't we get a fighter jet anywhere in the world in 7 hours?
And based on what you say, I keep going back to the testimony of Greg Hicks, the #2 man in charge of Libya, and hearing what was going on. He was in Tripoli the night that it was going on. He was the last person to talk to Ambassador Chris Stevens, and he just sat there feeling helpless that no one could respond to this.
Well, they were ordered to stand down. There were special forces troops, not many of them, but there were some people in Tripoli who had transportation on a Libyan C-130 to Benghazi. They were ordered in their chain of command to stand down. The military attaché told the chargé, this is the first time that we see the diplomats more courageous than the military trying to go in there and fight. The military folks on the ground in Benghazi ordered to stand down, just like the FEST Emergency Action Team. Why are we standing our people down?
And that is why you're trying to find the answers. Congressman Blake Farenthold, we thank you for joining us this Saturday afternoon. Good day to you, sir.
Good day.
Shane.
Another top story, we're following the Ohio man who held